So what happens when, the absolute cutting edge of science meets, well, really explosive investment opportunities?
Yeah, that's a fascinating intersection where real innovation hits market potential.
And that's exactly what we're diving into today.
Mm-hmm.
We're looking at biotech investing, specifically, two companies that Wall Street analysts seem pretty excited about. We're talking big potential growth here.
Right, really big numbers being thrown around. The source we're looking at is an article from The Motley Fool.
Okay.
You know them, the financial education company. This piece is called Two Biotech Stocks to Buy Before They Soar 84% and 240%, according to certain Wall Street analysts.
Wow, 84 and 240%.
Yeah, exactly. It's by Adria Simino, published June 21st, 2025.
Okay, so our mission then is to kind of unpack why these two stocks, what makes them extremely compelling, as the article puts it.
Right. What are the catalysts? What's the science?
We want you to walk away with the key nuggets, the stuff you really need to understand this space.
And the Motley Fool, just for context, their whole goal since 1993 has been to make the world smarter, happier, and richer. They reach millions, lots of guidance, podcasts, that sort of thing.
They're definitely a familiar name. Okay, so before we jump into the specific companies, let's talk biotech investing generally.
Yeah.
I mean, it's exciting stuff, right? Groundbreaking research, potential game-changing treatments.
It really is. And for investors, the upside can come from specific points.
Like what exactly?
Well, things like positive clinical trial results, that's a big one. Getting regulatory approval, say, from the FDA. And then, of course, actually starting to sell the product and generate revenue. These are the moments that can really move the needle for a stock, especially if it's a totally new kind of treatment.
Right, tangible milestones. Okay, let's get into the first company then. Viking Therapeutics, ticker's VKTX.
Yep, VKTX.
As of June 20th, market cap around $3 billion. Price was 26.05.
And the story here is pretty interesting. The stock actually rocketed early last year.
Oh, yeah.
It was based on really strong phase 2 data for their weight loss drug candidate, VK2735.
Okay, weight loss. That's a hot area.
Huge. But here's the thing. After that initial jump, the stocks kind of drifted back down.
Really? Back to where it was before the good news?
Pretty much, yeah. Close to those pre-announcement levels.
So, some people might see that pullback and think maybe the hype died down. Is this actually an opportunity now, given what might be coming next?
That's the key question, isn't it? The article points to the science behind VK2735. It apparently works similarly to those Eli Lilly blockbusters Mounjaro and Zepbound.
Oh, okay. Tirzepatide.
Exactly. And the key there is that they're dual agonists. They hit two hormones involved in digestion, GLP-1 and GIP.
Right, not just one.
And that dual action is thought to be why they work so well for weight loss. So Viking's drug uses that same kind of powerful mechanism. It's not just another drug. It's potentially leveraging something proven.
Got it. So the science is solid, potentially best in class even. What about those upcoming catalysts then? What's next for VK2735?
Well, they're pushing forward on two fronts. An injectable version and a pill.
Go.
They actually started the big phase 3 trial for the injectable in Q2. That's a major step towards getting it approved.
Phase 3, that's critical.
Definitely. And then they're expecting data from the phase 2 trial of the pill version in the second half of this year.
A pill version too. That could be huge for convenience.
Absolutely. So two big potential news items coming up.
And the market itself. I mean, weight loss drugs. The demand is just incredible, isn't it?
It's astronomical. Forecasts are talking nearly $100 billion for this market in just a few years.
Wow. So even with established players, there's plenty of room for newcomers if their drug is good.
That seems to be the thinking. And Wall Street analysts, on average, are forecasting, about a 240% increase for Viking.
240%. That's significant.
It is. But, we have to mention the risk.
Of course. Biotech always has risks.
Exactly. Viking is really dependent on these trials panning out. The data's been strong so far, yes, but future success, especially in phase 3, is absolutely crucial for the stock. It's still a bit of a make-or-break situation based on that data.
Okay, makes sense. High potential, high risk, tied to the science. Let's switch gears then to the second company. CRISPR Therapeutics, ticker CRSP.
CRSP.
Price recently was $44.29. Now, CRISPR is gene editing, right?
Fundamentally different.
Totally different ballgame. And they achieved something genuinely historic.
What was that?
They got the world's first ever approval for a product based on CRISPR gene editing technology.
A first wherever.
Wow. It's called Casgevy. It's a treatment for certain blood disorders, sickle cell disease and beta thalassemia.
I feel like I've been hearing about CRISPR potential for years. Seeing an actual approved drug, that's huge. How much of a game changer is this, really? Because the article notes the stock actually fell after the approval news.
Yeah, it's a bit counterintuitive, right? The stock surged before the approval.
Then it dropped afterwards. Maybe some investors locking in profits, sell the news.
Right.
But the article suggests this pullback could offer a very good price. And the game changer aspect, it's massive. This isn't just a drug approval. It validates the entire CRISPR platform for human therapy.
Ah, so it proves the tech works in people.
Exactly. It shows we can actually edit human DNA to treat disease. That opens the door for potentially treating countless other genetic conditions down the line. It's a paradigm shift.
So why the muted reaction or the drop post-approval then, beyond profit-taking?
Well, part of it might be the rollout reality. Casgevy isn't like a pill you just pick up. It's a complex, multi-step gene editing treatment.
Ah, so it takes time to get patients treated.
Months, potentially, for each patient. It involves extracting cells, editing them, chemotherapy, then infusing the edited cells back. So revenue ramps up slower than, say, an injectable.
Okay, that makes sense. Slower initial uptake.
But the company did say recently that they expect new patient starts to increase significantly this year. So that points towards future revenue growth kicking in.
And CRISPR isn't just Casgevy, right?
Yeah.
They have other things in the pipeline.
Oh, yeah. A diverse pipeline. The article mentions they just had positive phase 1 data for a gene editing candidate targeting high cholesterol.
High cholesterol, that's an enormous market.
Huge.
Yeah.
And they also have upcoming data, phase 1 again, for a candidate tackling elevated lipoprotein.
LPA, I've heard that's a tricky one. A cardiovascular risk factor.
Exactly. Often genetic, hard to treat with standard drugs. So another area of significant unmet need. These are potentially massive opportunities beyond the initial blood disorder focus.
So more potential catalysts coming just from the cardiovascular side. Anything else?
Yep. They also expect trial updates this year in oncology and autoimmune diseases. So that's a pretty full calendar for them. Lots of potential news flow.
Okay, a lot happening. And what are analysts saying about CRSP?
The average Wall Street forecast is looking for about an 84% gain from its current price.
84%. Still very significant.
Definitely. The article frames it as a potential golden buying opportunity for growth investors. But again, the usual caveats apply.
Trials need to succeed. Casgevy revenue needs to grow as expected.
Precisely. Success hinges on continued positive data and effective commercial rollout.
So, stepping back from these two specific companies, the big picture here is just the incredible potential, the sheer audacity, really, of what modern biotech is doing.
It really is. Pushing boundaries in medicine, driven by this amazing science and these key clinical milestones coming up.
It feels like we're on the cusp of some major shifts.
I think so. And it makes you wonder, right? These kinds of breakthroughs, like super effective weight loss drugs or actually editing genes, how will they change things? Not just for individual health, which is huge, obviously.
Yeah, beyond the patient.
Right. How do they reshape healthcare systems, economics, maybe even society as a whole over the next, say, decade or two?
That's a profound thought. What else is out there?
Exactly. What other innovations are bubbling under the surface right now? Things we haven't even talked about that could fundamentally change our world in ways we can barely even picture today. It's a fascinating time.